Tokyo.
The STEM Society.
I told you to hold your whispers. Art that moves the soul, let's call it a motion picture. Yeah, I think history chose a victor, a king without his throne, the one with the golden scriptures. So clear that it's right in front of me. If it's too much information to gather, I'll write the summary. These kids needed hope, I was dead, so they ran up under me. No fears of your plans to punish me. You are the man that you are, but you're not the man that you wanna be. Don't ever try in front of me. I'm in sync with my instincts.
The
Hard to
STEM
have clean
Society.
thoughts when everything you let in stinks. Upscale gin drinks.
Welcome back to the STEM Society. My name is Cole Jackson. Episode 45. It's up. And it's stuck? Nah, let me stop playing. Welcome back, guys. For everybody who is new here, thank you for joining me for another episode. And for my usual, for the people who are a part of the society, how you doing? I'm still in an undisclosed location. I'm still in the middle of trying to get moved. I'm still trying to get to my destination. Hopefully, by the time, I think in another week, I should be where I'm supposed to be. So just bear with me, and then I can actually have my equipment and my setup the way I want it to have. But for everybody who actually did some comments on the last video, man, I appreciate it. For everybody who viewed the last video, thank you. But you didn't subscribe. Look, I love the fact that y'all give me a play, a like, a listen, or a comment. That helps me break the algorithm chains. I think that's amazing. But if you really want to support a black content creator like myself, why are you guys not subscribing? Subscribe to the BYNK Radio YouTube channel, where you can get content like this on a regular basis. And the Patreon should be up this week. I'm looking up some content to do. I'm actually going to give you guys some ideas on the community tab. So if you follow us on the community tab and you keep tabs on everything, make sure you guys look. I have some ideas for some things that I want to do, and I want some feedback from it. So just look out for it and see what's going on. And if you haven't started following me on Instagram, follow me now at ColeJackson_BYNK. That's me on Instagram. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at ColeJackson12. I know I got two different handles. I'm difficult sometimes. But I appreciate everybody who viewed the last video and for all the comments I got about the Eminem stuff. Look, I know there's a ton of fans out there who enjoy M, and I enjoy M also. So some of the comments were wild, and I get it. I want M to elevate, bro. I want M to be, I know what type of MC he is. I know what type of rapper he can be. I just want to see different stuff. So the Death of Slim Shady hopefully is the end of the Slim Shady era. I need an album that he is going to most definitely show people how great of a lyricist he is. That's all that is. So, but I appreciate intellectual music conversation. Hey, some of you guys had some really, really cool comments. I appreciate that. With that being said, you know what? Let's go ahead and get into the show, and let's start off with new releases.
New releases.
All right, so I got 3 albums for you guys that I listen to. These are instant reactions. Anytime I do new releases, I usually do instant reactions. These are my initial feelings when I first hear these albums. And a lot of times I don't really, since the show drops on Sunday, I get a little bit of time between listening, recording, and releasing the video. So it's not like I have that much time to really sit with some of these projects. And, you know, there are times when things change, and there are times when I actually kind of go back and kind of be like, you know what? I actually dig this, or I actually think it's great. So these are just initial reactions. That's all. And I'm not reviewing albums, man. These are just critiques, bro. Like, I'm not giving it a 5-star rating, or I'm not giving it like a 10 out of 10 or any of that shit. I'm actually just doing a critique. But at the end of the day, you know what you like. I know what I like. I just want some great intellectual hip-hop conversations. That's it. So I'm actually going to start from the bottom and go up. Let's start with JT. JT dropped City Cinderella, 16 tracks, 40 minutes long. When I first turned this on, I immediately said, oh, this is a Jeezy album. The intro and the first song alone just lets you know that this feels very inspired by Jeezy. From the cadence, the slow cadence, to the production, to the ad-libs, there's a lot of stuff going on. I was like, oh, this is a TM album. This is most definitely one of them TM albums. It does sound like it's her first solo album, though, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think she came out different than what she typically does with the City Girls. When I say that, like, you can tell, like, she's actually trying not to rap like her City Girl persona. Again, slow cadence, way more articulate, way more talking, got a lot of things to say about life. She's actually shooting at some people. I don't know who she's shooting at because she wasn't naming no names. But if you go into some of these rhymes, especially the one where she was talking about somebody sticking a bottle up their their vagina, she's shooting. She was shooting on this album. And I like that. I like to see the side of JT. I thought she did a very good job with the raps on here. I have to give her a lot of credit on that because I'm going to be honest with y'all. I came into that album with very low expectations. Like, I was just like, nah, I don't know if she's going to be able to do it because she only had, like, the OK single was, like, again, just okay to me. But she actually changed my mind the longer I went into the album. Like, the song, if that song is not inspired by Jeezy, I don't know what it is. That's a Jeezy song. I'm not saying that he wrote on this album. I'm not saying that he executive produced this album, but it sounds mighty similar to what Jeezy would have put out. So the raps are there. She's doing her thing when it comes to raps. I think my problem with the album, or where I got hung up at, is the production just wasn't up to par. It just wasn't what I wanted from a JT album, if that makes sense. Like, I think she did a pretty good job with picking particular producers, but I felt like the album had one too many flips, and it felt like the budget wasn't super heavy on here. Like, that was a big thing to me. Like, I don't know if QC gave her the kind of budget she needed to be able to make the album that she wanted to make, but I could kind of tell that it gets around about 8 songs in and it kind of drags just a little bit. I got tired of some of the flips, and I got tired of, like, listening to, like, old school 90s. Yeah, it's like old school 90s flips. And I know that's, like, the thing these days, but it got to a point where it kind of got old, and I wasn't trying to hear that. And the production wasn't super high quality to me. I think I've heard a City Girls album, and I'm not saying she's trying to sound like the City Girls, but the production quality has always been top notch and has been better than this. So again, it really does feel like it's somebody's first solo album, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think, out the gate, she wanted to show everybody that she could hold her own, and she really did. What else? The Stunner Girl feature didn't work for me. I think JT and Stunner Girl, I don't think they had the type of chemistry I was looking for that to be one of her features. It felt like Stunner Girl just did the verse, sent it to her, and they just added it onto the song. There was no chemistry there. It just didn't feel like they were in the same room, which I know that's typical for a lot of artists these days, but, like, come on, man. I really wish she could have got a better feature. Nothing against Stunner Girl. I just would like to hear somebody with somebody who has a little bit more chemistry with JT, so we can actually hear a good back and forth or a good song with, like, her and Jeezy. I think the OK remix was great. I think her and Jeezy had great chemistry. I love what they was talking about on that song. But the song with Stunner Girl, it just didn't work for me. Didn't have the chemistry that I was looking for. All in all, it's not a bad project, but I felt like she didn't get the budget she deserved to be able to make the type of solo album that she wanted to make. And 16 songs honestly feels like a bit much to me. I feel like she would have did a nice 12. We would have been good. It just, there are times when the album drags to me and it just didn't feel it. Just I kind of had to rush through some of the songs. So with that being said, man, it's not bad. It's not great. In the middle, I don't want to say mid. It's a step above mid because I really enjoy JT rapping on here. I had quite a few favorite songs. I said I was going to start putting my favorite songs. My favorite songs would be right here on this side. And I enjoyed my time with it. Will I return to it? Probably not. I don't want to go back and listen to this as a full project. I would much rather take some of these songs and put them in playlists and go about my day. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because I just don't feel like the production was there. I don't feel like it didn't feel like a big budget project. So I get it. It's her first solo album, and I know she's got to grind to get up to another level. Great job on her end as far as like what she was doing. I think QC should have put a lot more money into the project. So the only reason why I'm not going to return to it is because the quality of the production wasn't there, and I don't want to suffer through a whole project like that again. All right, so the second album that I listened to is something I was like really, really anticipating. Denzel Curry dropped King of Mischievous South Volume 2. It's 15 tracks, 34 minutes. So the beginning of the album, the intro has this artist, this Memphis artist by the name of Kingpin Skinny Pimp, which I've listened to, probably one of his best albums, which is called King of the Players Ball. He is a late 90s, early 2000s Memphis legend. He actually worked with DJ Paul and Juicy J. I don't know what happened with their relationship. They no longer work together. But I remember listening to King of the Players Ball, and I was like, yo, it's just that Memphis sound, bro. Like, it's that DJ Paul, Juicy J sound, early 3-6 Mafia type vibes. Like, the shit's fucking amazing. If you haven't heard King of the Players Ball, go find it and listen to it. I don't know if it's on streaming services, but that is probably one of my favorite albums from that era. Anyway, he starts the album off with that. So I automatically get he's gonna do some Memphis rap type shit. Like that's what I'm getting from it when it first starts. I think it is very, very much influenced by 3-6 Mafia. The production is there, like bass heavy. The beats are dark and gritty, and just it works for me. Denzel Curry is doing a great job as far as like rap. Here's the thing too, Denzel Curry, I think his last 3 projects, I've loved every one of them. Like I haven't had a problem with anything Denzel Curry has put out here in the last few years, and I don't know why we don't talk about his albums more. Like I feel like he's up there when it comes to rappers, and for him to do an album like this where, again, very influenced by 3-6 Mafia, but he does have some socially conscious rhymes in a lot of this stuff. For him to do that, like, I don't think there's a lot of artists can pull that shit off, and he's doing it well. So it really boggles my mind that we don't talk about Denzel Curry more. Like I feel like he's a phenomenal artist and he puts out great music. And I've seen him live. The energy that he puts out there live is just like the energy he puts on his albums. This album is high energy. Everything kind of moves at a pace until you start getting into more of the interludes. Like, this is where the album kind of like messes up for me. Like, Denzel Curry has a lot of interludes on this album. And he uses the interlude to transition into other songs. But I feel like he put way too many interludes on here and not enough music on the album. Each interlude has Kingpin Skinny Pimp on there, and he's explaining what's going on with the Ultra Ground, which is something that Denzel Curry has started. He has a YouTube channel behind that. The album is supposed to be way more fast-paced than this, but the interludes just mess it up, and it just kind of, it takes me out of the zone. It just takes me out of that zone. Like, I'm vibing hard off this album, and I start hitting these interludes, and it just really takes me, it just throws me off. And then one other thing that I didn't like about the album as well is like once you get past the 10 songs, again, it's only 15 tracks. Once you get past like number 10, which I think is like Cold Pimpin', the album takes a really wild left, and the songs after Cold Pimpin' is usually either you're really, really gonna like or you're really, really gonna hate. And I was the latter. Like I didn't like none of them songs after number 10. It just didn't work for me. I do want to give props to the features he has on here. People like Maxo Cream, Tia Kareem, Mike Doms is on here, ASAP Ferg, Kenny Mason. He's got some great features on here, and they all make sense, and they all work for the album. But as soon as you start getting into the album, it's done. Like, it's over with. It's a quick listen, which I know there are times, if you watch any of my other videos or the other shows, there are times when I'm just like, yo, man, this shit drags, or like, damn, like, figure out the pace. I think it's paced too fast, and I feel like it's just over in no time. Like, I just wish that the album was a few more songs. I wish he put a few more songs on here and a lot less interludes. But the overall product of the album is great. I think the first half of the album, the first 10 songs, is no skips at all. I went through it twice, and there's no skips on that. So I really enjoyed that. I will be going back to this album. Why is it that we don't talk about Denzel Curry more? I feel like he's a gem, man, when it comes to like making music and doing albums. I feel like Denzel Curry is one of the top artists out here when it comes to like putting together great projects and making them work. Again, I think the last 3 projects, including this one, I love them. I've gone back to a ton of his music, and I think he makes great music. And we don't praise him enough, I guess. I don't know, man. We don't put enough respect on Denzel Curry's name. I feel like he's one of those artists that deserve a lot more respect than what we give him. And I think he does great work, and nobody talks about him. Nobody gives him enough credit in my eyes. So with that being said, King of the Mischievous South Volume 2, most definitely going to go back to it. It does have its flaws. Again, after the 10th song, it might miss for you like it did for me. But overall, I was satisfied with the production. I was satisfied with the rhymes. I was satisfied with the features. Go out. It's on your streaming services right now. It's called King of the Mischievous South Volume 2 by Denzel Curry. All right, so I wanted to save the best for last. That's right. Childish Gambino. He dropped Bando, Stone, and the New World. 17 tracks. It's an hour long. This is his 5th and final studio album. One of my favorite albums of 2024. Hands down. Hands down. The production, let me get the production out of the way. The production is great. Childish Gambino and Michael Uzawu. If I say your name wrong, I'm sorry. They produced most of this album, and it is phenomenal. The production that they did on here is phenomenal. Like, I don't know how he figured out how to balance an album where you get a lot of futuristic vibes, then you go into like more of like sometimes it feels like you're on an island. Sometimes you feel like you're at a show. I don't know how you get so many different types of vibes on an album like this. I don't know how he pulled it off, but he pulled it off. It felt like Childish Gambino took the time to like put a lot of care and effort into this album. And I appreciate that. Like, it's one of his best albums. One of his best albums. I'm a Childish Gambino. I'm a Childish Gambino fan, but I'm not like a uber super fan like that. Like, it's been a couple albums where I haven't fucked with him, but I like a lot more of his albums than I hate. But this, you can tell that he put a lot of care into the album, and you can just tell that he wanted to make this last album his best. I seriously I seriously think that he should be up there for like album of the year. That's just my humble opinion. I know a lot of people might not feel the same way. This should be up for album of the year. This album was phenomenal. Even on his rapping, even in the rapping stuff, he got a lot of shit off of his chest. He does take a couple shots at most definitely Elliott Wilson. He takes a shot at Drake on this album. But other than that, he kind of talks about what's going on in life. He wants people to have a feeling or give people like a feeling. Like if you've never heard a Childish Gambino album before and this is the first time, like you're going to feel something. I've listened to other Childish Gambino projects and this is the first time this is probably like the first time I've really just kind of like was like, oh shit, like this nigga's like really talking about something. One of my favorite parts of the album is, and my favorite song on the album is Cruising, and it features Yeet. And I think the reason why I like that song so much and the reason why I like this album so much is because he figured out how to use Yeet correctly. A lot of people would feature Yeet and not know how to use him correctly. This is how you use Yeet. Like, this is how you use him. Great feature. The song is my favorite song on here. Also, a feature that I didn't think was going to work, but it did work. The feature with Flo Milli, Talk My Shit. That wasn't supposed to work. I seen that when I pulled the album up and I was like, this is not going to work. It worked. It worked. I don't know what Donald Glover or Childish Gambino or whatever we're supposed to call him is doing or how he figured out how to do a lot of this stuff or how he figured out how to make all of these things work on this album. But for some strange reason, the shit worked and it sounded great. And I just feel like this is one of his best projects. I need to go back and listen to some of his old stuff to compare it to see where I want to rank it at because I don't want to rank it right now because I'm still in the moment. But one of the best albums of 2024. Sorry. I know a lot of people might think I'm crazy. This is one of the best albums of 2024. And y'all got to start putting a lot more respect on this nigga's name. As far as like a hip hop artist or a rapper. Start putting a little bit more respect on his name, man. This shit is great. I love it. I love it. I ran it back 2 more times after I listened to it. It was one of the first albums I listened to when it dropped. But I wanted to save the review for last because I was going to give it a lot of praise. And I know a lot of people's like, you're glazing him. But I think he killed his last album. It's very non-conventional. I think Elliott Wilson is crazy for saying that he's not a part of the hip-hop culture. I beg to differ. I think he's a big part of the hip-hop culture. I think he's a big part of, like, an alt side of, like, if you say that about him, you have to say the same about Tyler. You have to. There's no way around it. If you say that he's not a part of hip-hop, then you got to say Tyler's not a part of hip-hop. Y'all really wasn't, and let's be real, y'all really wasn't fucking with Tyler until he made that Gangsta Grills and won a Grammy off of it. Just saying. A lot of these takes about Childish Gambino and where he is supposed to be in hip hop is dumb, and a lot of y'all motherfuckers is just really just trying to I don't know. Some of y'all trying to get your shit off, and I think that's stupid as fuck because this nigga has been around for a minute and he's actually embraced the culture. Has he done some weird shit? Yeah. Tyler's done some weird shit too. And we love Tyler. So I don't get it. So with that being said, again, I think that this is one of the best projects that came out this year, one of the best albums that came out in 2024. It's most definitely going to make my top 10 list unless something else comes out that knocks it out. We've been in a place in hip hop this year where it's been hit or miss, and I think the Drake Kendrick thing kind of slowed music down because nobody wanted to drop anything when that was going on, and it just kind of like maybe we're picking back up now since we're going into the end. Like we're about to hit the end of summer in a month, and maybe we can start getting some more projects. But all in all, I'll be going back to this. I've already ran it back twice. I'm gonna continue to listen to it again because the shit is so good. Childish Gambino did a great job. This is probably one of the best send-offs that any rapper has done for himself. So I appreciate it. I can't wait to see the movie because he, in an interview with Zane Lowe, he said the movie is actually a real thing. So he is actually going to drop a movie called Bando Stone. What is it? Bando Stone and the New World. So I'm here for it. But I will be returning to Childish Gambino, Bando Stone and the New World. You should check it out. It's on your streaming services right now. No, don't stream it. Buy it. Go buy this album. It's completely worth your time and your money.
The STEM Society.
That's not the 300s, the Rolls Royce. Stainless steel watch by choice with the gold voice. One look at me and she moist, we in fuego. Hard rock sweet down in Dago, get a Prego. Wake up real early, the egos a fresh squeeze. You can wear Adidas and Gucci, it mesh clean. And I take any color in the coupe except green. The girls that I used to...
So there was a Twitter Spaces where Cardi B goes off on Joe Budden for hating on Drake and bad-mouthing her career. Cardi B had a Spaces where she was only allowed to talk, or the only one that was allowed to speak, and basically aired out her grievances with Joe Budden. I actually was on there on real time, but let's start from where this probably stemmed from. So Joe Budden actually had Joe Budden on his last episode had a little bit to say about Cardi and what she's going to be doing from here on out. I'll play the clip right here.
Big Rob on Friday. Saw that. That's going to be crazy, but that's what Cardi's about to be now. Just a single artist. You're not getting none of that shit.
I mean, you was right, too.
About what?
About Atlantic wanting to put out an album. You was right. See, you be right sometimes about them wanting to put out an album. We don't care about none of that shit.
I ain't spoken to nobody at Atlantic. I'll just be on a hunch. So you done went and got some information from somewhere. I'm sure somebody involved wants Cardi to put out an album.
What? Yeah, of course they do.
I'm sure Offset wants Cardi to put out an album. Hey, fellas out there, boyfriends, y'all know that feeling, right? When you want your bitch to get a job. You in the house, your bitch just won't leave. She just in there on top of you, on top of everything, not giving you space.
Let's cuddle. No.
Yeah, no, get off my arm. My arm's sleep. Move. Go. Ain't you got an album to do? Don't you got a single?
You got a tour.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Ooh.
Give me some real elbow room.
So, he kind of he criticized what she would probably be doing later on. I can see where that could have irritated her. I can see where that could have been a situation where she was just like, yo, man, this nigga Joe on some bullshit. Especially like the end part where he was like, girlfriend needs to get a job, so on and so forth. Yeah, that was a little out of pocket. But I also understand his side of things where he said, hey, we're never going to get a Cardi album. She's just going to be a singles and feature artist. I think I made that statement a few episodes ago. I'll probably put the little flag up here to show you what episode I said that in. But I said the same thing. Why would we get a full project from her? It feels like she didn't want to put out any music. It just felt like maybe it was a situation where she wasn't confident in putting out a full album. But during that Spaces, she just let a lot of grievances go. And she also told people that she will be putting out an album this year. I do have a clip from that Spaces. I do want to play that for you guys really quick to show you how the Spaces went.
Second of all, you're like, I will never talk about this and that. I don't give a fuck when people talk about me. It's just the fact that you always talk shit about me, Joe Budden. You always talk shit about me. Out of nowhere. You would think I did something to this nigga out of nowhere. For the past 2 years, this nigga have only talked bad things about me. Bad things about me. Constantly. Why? Because you got an interview? And the fact about it is that you don't even have to do that. Because I know for a fact bitches is not telling you to do that. You just do that to pander. Like if I did something to you all the time, I got to connect in Atlantic. I got to connect in... No, the fuck you don't. Nigga really said here in December saying that I fucking got into it with my husband because this ain't my little boyfriend, nigga. This ain't my no fucking baby daddy, nigga. This nigga I've been married for 7 years, nigga. Oh yeah, she did that for a publicity stunt because this and that drop. Nigga, what? Now it's this girl. Now it's this girl. Now I promise you, I can show you. I will never call her this girl. Now I'm this girl. Now I'm Cardi B, the bitch you always talking shit about. I want to talk now, nigga. I've been giving you 2 years, sparing you for 2 years. Even when I call you out, I don't even disrespect you. You always try me. Always try me.
So it was a lot more on there. I just didn't want to put a super long clip on here just to kind of show you guys what was in that spaces. Again, Cardi was the only one that spoke in that spaces. Joe didn't have the opportunity to actually defend himself. And even if he had an opportunity to, I don't know if he would have or not. I don't think it was fair. So let me preface it real quick. I'm not the biggest fan of Joe Budden. I think that in the space he's needed because he does set a lot of the trends. And I'm not saying, when I say set the trends, I mean as far as like how podcasters get money or things that we kind of look at when it comes to making content. He leads the pack on this side of things. As far as like hip hop media or black media, I know Act was number 1 on the complex list and so on and so forth, and he was number 2. But when it all boils down to it, Joe is the nigga that sets the trends, no matter what. Whether you love him or hate him, that's what he does. I have listened to the Joe Budden podcast for a very long time. I try not to mention his name on my show because I just don't want to. I just don't like speaking that man's name. I usually just say prominent podcaster and leave it at that. But I also am a person who actually look at things as being fair. And listening to the podcast, Joe gives her so much praise on everything. A lot of times he gives her a lot of grace when it comes to certain situations. And is it fair that he actually kind of speaks on maybe relationship stuff? I don't think so. That might be some stuff that's out of pocket when it comes to that. But I've never heard him give someone so much praise and love like he does Cardi. So that actually got me to thinking, like, why is it that black or hip hop media actually has to get called to the carpet like this on a regular basis? Now, if that was Billboard or if that was Rolling Stone, would she have called that writer who may have criticized or critiqued her music in a bad way? Would she have called them to the carpet the same way? Would she have gotten on spaces and kind of did the same thing? I don't know. I think I think we're at a point where we can't critique stuff anymore without somebody being super sensitive or thinking it's personal because of clip culture or blog culture or whatever the case may be. And I didn't think that whole situation was right. Well, I'm not going to say right. Fair. It wasn't fair. Like, we've gotten to the point to where hip hop media or black media don't get a fair shake at all. Like, when these artists want to like go crazy and be mad, they always go towards hip hop media for shit. Even though they're getting it just as bad on the other side when it comes to places like Billboard or Rolling Stone or the places that don't know hip hop from a hole in the ground. You can just tell by the list that they put out. You can just tell by the way they critique albums. You can just tell by the way that they talk about certain situations. I don't think if somebody from Spotify would have critiqued her stuff, I don't think she would have did the same thing. It's getting to the point where it's kind of like ridiculous, where it's not personal. And if you're above being critiqued, this is how I feel. And I might be wrong for saying this. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Why don't we just stop covering her and leave it to the Billboards and the Rolling Stones to do it, and the complexes, even the complexes? Because at the end of the day, when it comes to hip hop media or black media or whatever you want to call it, like, isn't that where you want to get the truth from? Rolling Stone don't give a fuck about you for real. You generate clicks. You generate likes. And I know a lot of blogs do a lot of this stupid shit too to kind of get likes and clicks and so on and so forth. But like, why don't we just not cover her? And it was some tweets that Joe tweeted, and I don't believe any of them. Like, I think he said, I'm never covering her for the rest of her career. I don't believe that. Like, Joe is Joe. He's not going to cover her. He's not going to stop covering Cardi B. They have this East Coast New York bond that these motherfuckers have. But I honestly feel like hip hop media always gets the short end of the stick. Now, if you want to go to Bobby Aloft and sit with her and have those types of interviews, that's great. Like, do that. If you want to go to Billboard or Rolling Stone or Variety and have those interviews and have them critique your music more than you want us to critique it, go ahead and do it. I just want the same energy when it comes to when they do bad critiques about your stuff or when they say bad things about your music. And maybe they don't. I read Billboard on a regular basis. I know what they say about stuff, but I know that it can be leaning because they have a lot of partnerships or they have a lot of relationships they want to keep. So I get it. But I honestly feel like if I was Joe, and this is just me, and I'm not Joe. I'm on another I'm a level I'm on another level below, but I wouldn't cover it. I wouldn't cover anything of hers ever again. Leave it to the Rolling Stones. Leave it to the other side of the media of music media to handle all of those things. Because you never give them the same type of energy that you give us or people that's in this position. And then that's not fair. That's not fair. It's not fair. On top of, and I'm not even talking about Cardi anymore, a lot of artists just feel like not everybody in hip hop media is out for clicks and likes and the relationship shit and the controversial bullshit. There's some of us like myself who want to keep it all about the music, but y'all don't want to talk about that. I don't want to answer these same questions about what inspired me but I distinctly remember Tyler, the Creator, saying, well, where's the hip hop interview, the good hip hop interviews where we actually talk about the music side of things? Do y'all not want to talk about that? Like, I think there's a way for us to be able to have these conversations with artists and still make you look human. You just have to sit with the right person. But maybe you guys would rather have the Billboard or Rolling Stone treatment than what we can give you. Lord knows we don't get the opportunities that I feel like a lot of us deserve in hip hop media. We don't get the opportunities like the Bobby Alofts and those people in that genre and what they like to do, because we're not up there yet. But we don't get those opportunities either. Just saying. I think a lot of times we get the short end of the stick because you think all of us are the same, which is pretty shitty and fucked up at the end of the day. That's just my opinion. But if you think that, again, if you want to go off a clip culture, if you want to just go off what the blogs are saying and not actually get the real deal, then maybe we should stop covering you. And it don't matter because I know I'm not on that level, and I know you're better than me, and so on and so forth. I know she went back and forth with some person on Twitter talking about how much better she is than everybody else. I think it's fucked up. But that's how a lot of these celebrities or artists want to handle their careers now. But it's fine, man. I wish that more hip hop media or more people on this side, I guess just saying hip hop media, I'm just going to stick to hip hop media. I wish more hip hop media would kind of take a stand and actually start saying, well, we don't have to cover you anymore. We'll leave you to the Billboards and the Rolling Stones. And kind of just, instead of us getting blackballed from them, let's start blackballing the artist and see how it works. I don't see why not. We don't stand together on a lot of shit, and I just feel like we should. I think we're better than this. I think that whole thing that went down, my initial thought when the whole thing went down was, oh, rollout. It's just a rollout. And maybe they got us. Maybe Cardi and Joe are working together on this because it felt mighty random. Maybe it was a whole rollout behavior. Who knows? Maybe we needed to get a little bit more attention on this Rob 49 Cardi B song that was dropping the same day. Who knows? But it's just getting to the point now, man, where I'm just like, if y'all are going to be so sensitive about it and still give the other side of media the opportunities instead of giving people who are actually trying to do this the right way opportunities, I can do better without you. There's a lot of independent artists that deserve a lot more looks, and they'll actually, give us an opportunity to treat them well and actually give them the type of coverage that they deserve. Some of you artists are just bigger than the world, and we're not allowed to say anything about it. So I just wanted to bring it up. I just felt like it wasn't fair, and I'm not trying to be a Joe Venger or any of that bullshit. I'm not a Danny from the Stop or any of them niggas. Thank God. I just felt like sometimes you have to look at things from a lens of being fair and unfair. And I just feel like if that was a writer from Billboard, or if that was a writer from Rolling Stone, that never would have happened. It never would have went down like that. That's just how I feel. That's an opinion. And opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and sometimes they're shitty. All right, so it looks like the clock is telling me it's time. I need to shut this down. Thank you guys for joining me for another episode. Look, man, I appreciate everybody who's came back and watched the show. Thank you guys for commenting. I appreciate the views yet again. But there's a big percentage of you guys who are not subscribers. Why not? Why are you not subscribed to the B1K Radio YouTube channel? Again, I always appreciate a comment, a like, a play, anything that you can give me to help break the algorithm chains, but to ultimately help me get through this. You got to subscribe. You got to subscribe to the B1K Radio YouTube channel and join the society. Be a part of something special. Be a part of something that's growing every day. I thank you guys for just watching. This keeps me motivated. I'm on the road to trying to get 300 subscribers. If you can tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, that would be great. I want to get to 300 in another 2 weeks. So the only way I can do that is put out content. And the only way you can help me is subscribe and tell somebody to subscribe to the channel for this type of content. I appreciate you guys. I got to go get some dog food because my dog is looking at me crazy. But I will catch you guys next episode. Peace out.
Who let the dogs out? Pistol smoke in the air, nigga, these all clouds.
Thank you for joining
I used to
the
be
STEM
in my
Society.
head, but now I let it all out. Counting money instead, investing.